what do I have in this comically large box? Thanks to Maddox Fitzgerald for lending me this because this is something that I have been very excited to try for a while, as I'm sure some of you have heard me talking or possibly have seen me posting. Oh boy, that is a tear. I'm trying to figure out how do I open this because there's just some straight up rips in this box, and I don't see tape anywheres. Anyways, while I'm figuring out how to disassemble this box, check out my coffee. Seriously, I've never opened a box this big. Check out my coffee and consider donating for this very nice temporary trade. Okay, it's like not even that big. Seriously, this didn't fit in a. Did this seriously not fit in a? Sorry, here, let me just double check. Yep, okay, nothing in here. Thank you to Maddox for lending me this hard case Nibali's X Will Hirsch. We have in here the Vulp Pro. Here we have a teal Vulp Pro. Comes with some, what the fuck are these? Oh my god, by handle markers? Nibali's by handle markers. That's cool. Two of them actually, and some Loctite and some super lube, I think. Some form of lube. Interestingly, I think this is supposed to be vertical. Yeah, because it has enough space for 3 Balisongs plus some other stuff, and if you cut this hole, it can be 4 Balisongs. So, okay, I'm going to start off with this Balisong. I'm sure that there's a lot of preconceived notions. This is the Vulp Pro. We all probably know about the Vulp. If you don't know about the Vulp is a $65 Balisong made by Nibali's, designed by Will Hirsch. It was designed to be a beginner-friendly Balisong. I think it's 6061 aluminum, and the thing about the Vulp is that it has a really nice starter package that includes like the lube and I think also like a sex bolt Allen whatever like for Torx bit, and also it's it's got a bottle opener, which I appreciate. However, the biggest issue with the Vulp is that it can't chaplain. It is designed specifically so that chaplains you have to do a big circle with. But as you probably have seen Blade Bias, if you haven't seen any Blade Bias videos, I recommend Blade Bias. They're really great, and it's mostly I think it's just Ethan at this point. He's really great. He's a good guy. Anyways, I agree with him in that you graduate from doing those chaplains pretty quickly. Yes, the beginning of learning a chaplain is kind of like spooky as with learning any trick, but I agree with the Vulp, and I ended up selling my Vulp. I I don't have the Vulp V1 anymore. I'm going to have some thoughts on this, but first, let me weigh it. Um, this clocks in at 3.95, so pretty light. All right, so the first thing I want to do is, oh, okay, this chaplain's great. I just needed to get that out of the way. Wow, okay, so the Vulp Pro is like the Vulp. However, there are several changes. Obviously, the biggest one is the G10 inlay. The G10 inlay is very obviously influenced by the Cygnus, which I guess I'll run up and get real quick. Fuck. Shit. I was supposed to get those beforehand and then I forgot. Anyways, so as you can see by the Cygnus design, it is influenced by that. And Will Hirsch has been very transparent about this influence. Now, one thing that's different, though, is that the G10 on here is that it's loose up here. Like, there's no G10 on this part of the titanium because it's designed so that you can chaplain it and you can fan it like this, but there's grip down here, which I guess you can also hold for chaplains. This is the inverse, where there is G10 up here, but there's no G10 down here. And there's even G10 here on the side. There is, come on, there should be grooves here. That should show up. Come on, show me the grooves, baby. It's not cooperating. Seriously. There we go. You can see those 3 grooves. All right. So this is actually... whereas this is 2 scales per handle. This is 3. You have 1 on each face as well as 1 on the side. There's this faux speed channel, jimping akin to the original Vulp, and a screw on the bottom. They also, you can watch Will Hirsch. There's Will Hirsch's secondary channel, Will Hirsch Flips. He talks about the lining of the tip with the center, and the intentionality behind that. And so, I must say that this, shit, I might get one of these. This is good. I was like, I want to try before I buy. Not that the price is a huge factor, which I will get to, but I obviously wanted to try. All right, so one thing that I heard is that this was more handle bias than the Vulp. I disagree. My memory of the original Vulp is that it didn't fan very neutrally. I am currently feeling not a ton of handle bias. Like, they say it was very more handle bias. I don't feel the handle bias in the negatively affecting the fans. I obviously have to spend more time with it. Let me just so there's no G10 grip down like here, which some people might want for like Z chokers and choker fans, like but the jimping here is so deep that I don't think that's actually a huge issue. Nice. Ow! I just hit my knee. Okay. Give me a second. So, this twirls pretty interestingly because the weight distribution, I'm trying to figure it out. Whoa. Yeah, so there's some weirdness with the weight distribution when I'm Case in point. I love to do extended full twirls. I expected the extended full twirl to be pretty seamless as it is under 4 ounces. That is not the case. There's something off, and I will diagnose that at some point. Rollovers. Surprising. There is a certain lack of something. I think it's how the weight is distributed. Maybe this is where they say that it's significantly more handle biased. I'm not sure. Weird. As far as I know, Maddox did not change out the weights on the bottom, which is why I'm surprised, ouch, when I say that it fans very neutrally, but it doesn't roll over in a way that I expect it to. Like the momentum feels either lacking or just offset. Feels like it's off center. Like it's not where I expect it to be at the ends of the handles. There's something strange about that. Ladders feel great. Ladders feel excellent. This jimping, yes, it's aluminum. 7075 aluminum with deep jimping. This ladder is excellently. What the fuck? That whip rollover did not do how I expected it to do. Shit. There's something weird. It almost feels like that there's so much emptiness in this part. And I'm not sure what that means. I guess theoretically this mill third has the most material and weight compared to this, which has least amount of metal, and this, which has jimping. But I'm not sure. I'm not 100% confident. This is, of course, a first impressions video. That is the weirdness that I'm feeling. Yeah. Also, don't worry. I'm going to disinfect this knife Maddox. Now, a lot of the general flipping of it seems pretty fine. But, alas, What went from being like very confident, being like, yes. Oh, it Okay, hold on. It palm fans not. The palm fan's going downward really nicely. Like the downward palm fan is like real smooth, but going back up was a little weird. Nah, let's see. Yeah, this palm fan's brilliantly smooth. Hmm. Let's see. Oh, I also want to make a note that these tolerances are very, very solid. There's like a teensy bit of play, but nothing that feels wrong. It feels very well tuned. Ouch. There we go. Not as satisfying as the clack as I would have expected from an aerial catch. It's got a very satisfying click though. There's some... It does sound, it has really nice bounce to it. Yeah, there's something weird. When I try to do a BT8B, it feels odd. There's something odd. And that's... I want this to be the fucking... I want this to be amazing. There's something about it that is not quite right. And I I really enjoy Will Hirsch's content. I think the Vulp is a really, really solid knife for the price, albeit that the Orion 1.5 is a better value. But it is more expensive, but it is a better long-term investment considering that it is a better flipper significantly. I want the Vulp Pro to be hot shit, but right now there's some weirdness with the weight distribution. As for the G10 feels good. It feels really good. But I'm currently caught off by not the balance, but the weight distribution feels weird. The G10 does feel nice. When I do fans, I do feel it does feel nice. And it's interesting that it is like the opposite of the Cygnus. Far be it from a clone, though. And I know that Will Hirsch said that he was also influenced by the Nibali's Trident, which I will get to in the point that let's talk about price. The Vulp Pro costs $140, and people have had a entire spectrum of responses to that. The first of which I'm going to address is that when people say that this is overpriced, they're fucking insane. The original Vulp, is $65, which in of itself is an insanely inexpensive price. This, however, requires a lot more machining, as you can tell, because you have the handle inlaid G10 as well as this G10, which is a separate piece. And so there's a lot of work to be done with that. It is a higher quality aluminum. I think the blade steel is higher quality as well. I'll have to double check that when I do my full review, which you can bet your ass that there will be one. And I'm gonna say that the Vulp Pro is not competing with the Vulp. It's competing with things like its colleague, the Trident, as well as the Prisma and Prisma Pro, and like the Mako through Squid Trainer, and like arguably the Nautilus. But the thing about the Nautilus is that the Nautilus is $220. The Mako is $100, so it's cheaper than this, but I cannot confidently ever recommend a Mako at this point. I think there are just so many other better products, and the Mako just doesn't last. It, for several reasons. No hardened blade, very difficult grip with the bead blast, and just not that much texture. And the Triton, is much isn't much better. It's like, I think like 110, maybe 120. So still cheaper than the Vulp Pro. I'm gonna turn this light on. It's starting to get like cheaper than the Vulp Pro. But then you have the Squid Trainer, which is 160, and the Vulp Pro beats that out. When you look at machine-wise lineup, the Prisma V1 is a knife that I don't like. I don't like the V1. It just feels really blocky, and I didn't like the balance and how long it was with the weight at the ends. But when you have no weights, it feels blade bias. Not a fan of the V1. Not knocking it, but that's not my thing. The Prisma Pro is a much better product. It's like 160 to 180, I think. So it's still more expensive than the Vault Pro. And then the Trident, the Nibali's Trident, is 140 and has sat on sale for like 120 for a long time through Nibali's own website. People who complain that this is $140 are losing sight of the fact that the materials and the G10 and the machining that needs to be done for that, that's not an unreasonable cost. Now, that said, when you look at the Vulp Pro with the Vulp 1.0, or like the Vulp base, I guess, is it worth twice as much, more than twice as much even? And that is something that has yet to be assessed, because while I like the original Vulp for what its value is, it's got flaws. It's got a serious flaw, and that is that it's kind of like training wheels. You lose interest in it pretty quickly once you learn your basic stuff. And yeah, it looks nice. I think honestly the original Vulp looks really nice. I like these lines. This line stuff is like the same, which I appreciate. It's got a good character to it. But you know, the chaplains and the balance, I didn't keep it for a reason. Now, fanning this feels really nice. I do really enjoy fanning this, and I legitimately thought that when they said that this was going to be handle bias, that it would fan really wobbly. It doesn't. The fans are very smooth, but there is still some quirkiness. While the chaplains feel good, the rollovers don't feel good to me. And I'm going to try and figure out what it is about the weight distribution that feels like it's throwing me off. Because the balance, I like. The weight distribution feels off. Now, if the weight distribution didn't feel off, I would buy one of these. I would definitely buy one of these. And again, appreciate to Maddox for lending me this. But there's just a little bit of weirdness to it. Also, one thing to note is that this blade is different. So if you have Vulp inserts, they will not fit the Vulp Pro. Just the cutters are different themselves. So my initial first impressions are pretty positive. There's a lot of things that this does really great. I think the jimping is fantastic. I think the chaplains feel wonderful. I think it ladders brilliantly. I do think that there is some weirdness that I'm feeling in twirls and rollovers, and I'm not sure what it is. And I do think I think right now it's because the middle third of the handles is the heaviest. It's possible that this bolt down here makes the end heavier than this middle third. It's very probable, in fact, but it doesn't feel right. I don't know. It's actually very likely that this end here is a hotter weight spot than this middle, but something about this section here to here, something feels off. Something doesn't feel right, and the momentum feels bizarre. Like I'm like, it's not following through how I want it to follow through, so that's why it doesn't feel like there's a lot of weight at the end spot here. And I thought I was going to have an experience where the handles, is more handle bias than I wanted, but if I remove the screws, maybe it'd be too light, and so then if I got zippy inserts, it would be like this perfect balance. But no, there's something weird, and I will probably try and mess around with removing the screws to see how I feel, but we'll see. We will see. I know that Zippy got one of these for free, so he will almost definitely at some point make blade inserts and caps for the bottom of the handles. Man, this is so close. It's so close. I will say that Brandon Baker of Will Hirsch's channel made some points about wanting to not do a completely different design, but to fix the original design, and he's really happy with this. I think they should do both, because this is cool, and I hope that there's maybe a version 2 of this that fixes some of the things that I'm not sure. I will hopefully be able to diagnose by the time that I eventually make a second video and a review. But I still think that if the original Vulp didn't feel so bad, if they changed the blade so that, you know, maybe it was more like this blade, and they made it so that you could chaplain on the original Vulp, I would be like, fuck yeah. That's a $65 trainer that you get to keep with you forever. A bottle opener that you can learn tricks on. But it's hard to learn tricks when you feel like you can't chaplain it. Even with the zippy inserts, I could not find a configuration that felt right to me. And that's a shame. And that's why I ended up getting rid of it. And I traded for a Calico, and then it got lost in the mail. So I ended up getting... I actually made a profit on that, hilariously enough, of like 35 bucks or whatever the shit. Maybe less. But yeah, Vulp Pro gets a... This does a lot of things right, but there is a serious flaw, and hopefully I will figure that out. Anyways, thank you again to Maddox, Mad Dog Fitzgerald number I said at the beginning of the video. Thank you for lending me this Vulp Pro. I will spend more time figuring out what it is about this knife that feels off. Because I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting other things. But great job to Will and Brandon for this new Balisong. It still has a lot of the character of the original Vulp that I like, as well as having a lot of like upgrades to it. The G10 is nice. The balance is much better. I don't know if I feel like I need the G10. The G10, we'll see. I'll have more thoughts on the G10 as well. Anyways, though, I don't actually have a video on the original Vulp because I didn't make videos at that point. But thanks for tuning in, and like this video if you like it, and subscribe. And that way you will be alerted for when I do a full review. And I will also go more in depth on the influences of the Trident and the Cygnus. And yeah, anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. And have a great day. Also, leave in the comments what your thoughts on the Vulp Pro are, because I'm very curious. I think I'm having a very unbiased reaction to this. And I want to know what people think about this as well. So if you think you know what's up with the weight distribution, please let me know. Have a great one.